I'm not sure why it took me so long to think of a proper title for my reviews. Only seems logical since I'm not necessarily giving bad reviews to movies, even if the title says it sucks. In fact, I haven't given a movie a flat-out bad review since The Mangler last Halloween. And so far, none of the Marvel movies I've reviewed have been given negative reviews. So let's see what we have lined up for today. Aw, shit.
You can turn the other cheek. You can just give up the ship. You can eat a bunch of sushi, then forget to leave a tip. Don't be stupid. Come on and don't be stupid. It's so easy to do. Don't be stupid. We're all waiting for you. Let's go.
I've been on this road to Avengers Age of Ultron for a while, focusing just on Marvel movies. But between requests and Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, I've only covered goodish movies. Sure, it's varied. I've covered the fantastic Avengers and the meh Iron Man 2, but nothing truly bad. And it would be a shame not to cover this series, since it's getting a reboot this year with Fant-four-stic. And with the recent trailer, I find myself unbelievably pumped for this reboot. And by pumped, I mean completely apathetic. This trailer did absolutely nothing for me. It felt just like the Ant-Man trailer, except that trailer had narration by Michael Douglas and some humorous moments. Fant-four-stic had none of that. It felt like they decided to do a complete 180. Where these Fantastic Four movies had a goofy universe, this new one looks super serious. Essentially, it feels like they're Dark Knighting the Fantastic Four, and I can't think of a group of superheroes less suited to a Dark Knight treatment. But it is just a teaser. I like the whole cast, and I did enjoy Josh Trank's Chronicle, so I plan on giving Fant-four-stic a shot. While I'm not thrilled with the idea of Fantastic Four getting a Cronenberg treatment, I do like Cronenberg, so at least it has me intrigued, but I'm very likely to walk out fucking Dr. Doom is a goddamn internet blogger. He's supposed to be a badass, and I can't think of anything more pathetic than spending your time posting your random opinions on the internet. Wait, who wrote that last line? Well, with a new Fantastic Four film on the way, best look at the best Fantastic Four film made so far. I remember watching the teaser trailer for this movie. It looked so awesome. Of course, the fact that I'm a huge Perfect Circle fan probably helped. It's kind of a shame. That song was completely misleading. Here's a more honest song. There was a rumor that Tim Robbins was up for the role of Dr. Doom, which I thought was strange, since I would pick him for Mr. Fantastic. But at the same time, I wasn't too worried, because Tim Robbins is a great actor who would probably do great in the role. Of course, he ended up passing, but still, the fact they got a great actor like him interested means it must have been a solid script. Robbins would never, ever consider doing an inferior superhero movie.
I was barking up the wrong tree. I knew that.
Fresh off Spider-Man 2 and Sin City, I was beginning to think we were reaching a time when comic book movies were really, really good. It seemed like we might be reaching that golden age of comic book movies. Does Fantastic Four hold up to Spider-Man 2 and Sin City? Stay tuned and find out. Spoiler alert, no, it really doesn't.
Event threshold in T-minus 9 minutes, 47 seconds.
That's impossible. It should be 7 hours.
How can you get the timing so wrong? It was supposed to be 7 hours away, but now it's almost 10 minutes away? It's a big-ass storm in space that I assumed Reed was tracking. Otherwise, how'd he know about it? But it gets worse. Ben is outside the station. Reed knows this, but it still takes him about 4 minutes to even tell anyone else about the storm being closer.
The cloud is accelerating. We've got minutes until it hits, not hours. Victor, that storm is deadly. We need to abort.
Get a grip, Reed. We didn't come all this way to lose our nerve at the first glitch. Just close the shields.
Ben is still out there.
So reel him in. But we came here to do a job. So let's do it. Quickly.
Victor? Reed's right, we have less than 6 minutes.
It's almost like he doesn't give a shit about Ben.
Either we're moving really fast or not at all.
I'll take the stairs.
No, why don't they take the service elevator, or at least tell him where it is? Reed has oversized equipment in his lab. Are we expected to think that he took this stuff up the normal elevator, or that shit was carried up the stairs? This is a very tall building. Who in their right mind would take the stairs? Who in their right mind would expect someone to take the stairs? What sick asshole makes a friend take the stairs up this huge-ass building?
Where are we?
It looks like we're in the teens somewhere.
Okay. But when we get to 20, tell me. I'm gonna throw up.
A service elevator should be more than strong enough to carry Thing. And if it's not, he should probably just stay on ground floors. I think I'm beginning to understand why Ben is so sour. Even his friends that are so nice to his face won't even bother to tell him how to get to the service elevator. What assholes!
Victor, if we could understand...
I don't want to understand it! This isn't one of your science projects. I just want to fix it. Fast.
There is obvious evidence that Victor was affected. Why do they ignore it? Reed is almost instantly trying to find a way to cure them, but never once does he even ask if Victor was affected. Why do they ignore this? Shit, Victor should be pissed at them. He seems like he has the worst symptoms outside the Thing, and everyone is ignoring the obvious evidence that he's clearly not well. Maybe they think he can get some prescription pills from the pharmacy to fix that.
I can't talk about it anymore. It's giving me a headache.
Here, take 2 of these.
Ah, new print. Little, yellow, different.
So the machine to reverse their powers works, but they don't have the power to do it properly. So Dr. Doom uses his powers, and yes, I'll get to those later, to give the machine a boost to cure Ben. Problem is, soon afterwards, Ben decides his friends who force him to use the stairs on that huge ass building every time he wants to come and go needs help. And the only way he can help is to become Thing again.
Oh yeah, crash bang boom bang,
But he does it without the power burst, without any explanation. But it begins to make sense if you look at the past reasons. Clearly, Reed was lying about needing more power because he wanted to fuck with Ben more. Maybe he can see him bust his ass on those stairs 5 or 6 dozen more times. I'm not in the camp that thinks Jessica Alba is the worst actress out there. You can certainly do worse.
And blink at least 3 times a minute. Good.
But on the other hand, she's not very good either, and she looks absolutely bizarre with blue contact lenses. Of course, why would they hire her if she wasn't the perfect choice for the role? It's not just that she's miscast. I actually don't hate her performance as much as most people, but they constantly seek excuses to have her show some cleavage. Hell, the big scene where she strips to get through the crowd literally means nothing to the narrative. Apparently, Reed and Johnny could get through without her help.
Still can't believe you made me do that.
We got through, didn't we? Just find Ben.
So, Reed is a dick to Ben, and he seeks excuses to perv on Sue. I'm starting to think Reed is one fucked up dude in this version. I don't even begin to understand this character. So her fiancé has gone to space and was in a massive accident that sent most everyone involved to the hospital. So does she go to visit him? No, of course not, because that's what a normal person would do. Could you imagine being in the hospital after sustaining injuries and not having your significant other visit? I mean, seriously, what the fuck are they doing that's so important they can't take a couple hours out of their day to visit? And when she sees Ben's thing, she runs away? Which is pretty crappy, but I could maybe excuse it and attribute it to shock. But she never tries to contact him and try to figure out what happened to him. Then after he does some amazing heroics on the bridge, she fucking leaves him? What an unbelievable bitch! She never tries to talk with him. All she seems to know is that he was turned into some rock guy. So what? Was she with him just because of his looks? Seriously, she was with this guy just for his looks.
I'm too sexy for my shirt. Too sexy for my shirt. So sexy it hurts.
I guess a person who runs through the street in a nightie might look at this guy and think, fuck, personality, I want that hot bod. Man, I hope a zombie gets her.
And there was much rejoicing.
Ain't enough to keep a man like me interested. Oh no, no way. No, I've gotta go out and have fun at someone else's expense.
Captain on the bridge! Digital camera, $254. Memory stick, $59.
The look on your hard-ass former CO's face when he finds out he's your junior officer. Priceless.
Johnny is an insufferable douchebag in this version.
Wow, Dr. Phil, that's deep.
He's a hothead, overconfident, and impulsive, and those are traits that are common to him in any medium.
Unfortunately, the doctors just couldn't do anything to fix your case.
But here, he's just turned up to 11.
Well, I've always found him to be a little limp.
Pretty much every scene with him and Ben has him doing at least one shitty thing to Ben. He has his human moments here and there.
How come Ben can't turn it on and off like we can?
But almost every scene with him, he's just an asshole. Here's the proof. When Thing says,
Okay, now I'm gonna go kill him.
how do Sue and Reed react? They give Ben a ride over. And from the audience's perspective, that seems perfectly reasonable.
Johnny!
This was the character I was most pumped to see when this movie came out. I was never a huge Fantastic Four fan. I didn't dislike them, I just never followed them. I was far more interested in Spider-Man, X-Men, and the Avengers. But Dr. Doom, the Fantastic Four's arch nemesis, has always been one of my all-time favorite villains. He is one of the most powerful and ruthless villains in the Marvel Universe, so seeing him on the big screen was an exciting idea. And how does his first big screen treatment go? Well, in the comics, Dr. Doom is a disfigured evil genius who seeks a way to gain more power. He has no morals and is absolutely brilliant. He is one of the most powerful villains in the comic books. He also has no powers. Everything he can do, he either developed for himself or learned to do. Essentially, he's Tony Stark without any scruples. What translates over? Well, his name's Victor Von Doom. I guess he gets kinda disfigured. That's about all I can think of. Oh wait, you can still see his eyes behind his mask, which really doesn't work on film. I am glad they dropped that on Iron Man. He gets electricity powers, I guess. The movie isn't very specific. He also becomes metal rather than building a suit. And also, he apparently can't count properly.
2 down, 2 to go.
Yeah, if his counting skill is any indication, he has a towering intellect of a preschooler.
2 down, 2 to go.
Typical of Victor Von Doom to build a 30-foot statue of himself.
Same old Reed, always stretching, reaching for the stars. So I see you're still doing all the heavy lifting.
You never got it. And you never will.
Well, what did I say?
Unless it's explained to you in quantum physics.
And no thing to stand in your way.
So tell me, what happens when you superheat rubber?
Allow me to begin your lesson. Chemistry 101. What happens to rubber when it's super cool?
Time for your lesson. Chem 101. What happens when you rapidly cool hot metal?
I swear to you, I will do everything in my power until there is not a breath left in me. You're gonna be Ben again.
Once they get back, Reed vows to make Ben normal again, and that's your entire Act 2 A-plot. Hope you enjoy a plot that's obviously not going anywhere. I say A-plot because there's also a B-plot of Dr. Doom slowly going mad and going on temper tantrums. Sadly, however predictable and lame the B-plot is, it is a welcome break from the A-plot. It's not even like they do anything interesting with the characters during the A-plot. Ben mopes around, Johnny acts like a dick, just like before, and Reed and Sue flirt. That's 90% of Act 2. I hate to target something as vague as the plot. As I've done more of these episodes, I try to be far more specific with my complaints. But the fact is, the worst part about this movie is the painfully boring A-plot throughout Act 2. We know how the plot will end, so why are we engaged with it? Why am I pondering this? The writers obviously didn't, so why should I? Upon writing my review, I found something surprising about all the characters. The only sympathetic character here is Ben Grimm. His whole body is turned into a rock, and he can't turn off his abilities like the others. Add to it, he finds out that his fiancée was only interested in him for his hot body, apparently. If I were looking at the comic book, I would say my favorite member of the Fantastic Four is probably Invisible Woman. However, here, it's definitely the Thing. He is the only one that is likable, that comes from a place that you could understand. But man, this movie gets twisted when you look at how all the characters relate to him. I'm gonna go ahead and sort the characters according to who's nicest to Ben and who's the cruelest. And I'll start with the nicest. In this movie, by far, the nicest person to Ben is Victor Von Doom. The villain actually treats Ben the best. Victor is only pretending to be nice to Ben, yet he is also the only one who does anything to help him. The one thing Ben wants throughout most of this movie is to be normal again. And what does Doom do? He makes him normal again. Granted, he did it for his own twisted reasons, but he actually does something for Ben. Something no one else does in this movie.
Victor was right.
Second nicest is Alicia. Reason she isn't the nicest is because it only seems like she likes him because of her obsession with stone. There seems a very real chance that if he went to her after he was cured, she wouldn't be interested. It would be just like Debbie all over again. How does Ben keep on fighting chicks that only want him for his body? Say what you will about the travesty of 1994's Fantastic Four, at least there, Alicia was interested in Ben as a human and remained interested even after his accident. And if at any point 1994's Fantastic Four is brought up as an example of something done better, a movie has done fucked up big time. Coming in third is Johnny, the only one who really goes out of his way to be a dick to Ben, but he obviously cares that Ben is going through shit right now. He just would never admit it to Ben's face. Fourth is Sue, who is really just indifferent to Ben the whole movie. It honestly comes off as though she really doesn't care about him. And the worst person to Ben in this movie is the person who should be his best friend, Reed. Reed makes Ben trek up and down the stairs in this tall-ass building all the time, and the only reason he does it is out of some personal amusement that is unrevealed in the movie. But gets way worse when you look at the beginning. Ben is outside the station, and Reed knows this. He discovers the storm is actually much closer than estimated. So what does he do? He does what anybody would do. He sticks his thumbs up his ass for a minimum of 4 minutes. His friend is in imminent danger, and he does nothing about it. Johnny treats Ben like shit to his face. Reed treats Ben like he's expendable behind Ben's back. He has opportunities to ensure that the entire team could be in the shield before the storm hits, and he does nothing for 4 minutes. He waits until it's far too late, causing Ben, Reed, Sue, and Johnny to get the full brunt of the storm. Hell, it's worth noting that Johnny doesn't run away from danger at this time. He finds out Ben's in danger and stays there to help reel him in. He doesn't stick his thumbs up his ass for 4 minutes like Reed does. I can tell you that none of this is intentional. It's a result of bad writing and lazy directing. Both had time to simply rewrite it so that when Reed finds the storm, it's a mere 6 minutes away. Voila, problem solved. But that doesn't happen, so it just makes Reed look like an uncaring dick. I feel like Julian, McMahon, and Jessica Alba are not well cast, but the other 3 leads all seem well suited to their parts. Yes, even though I find Johnny Storm insufferable, Chris Evans is well cast and does a good job. Just his job is to be a complete douche. Ian Gruffudd does a great job as Reed, and Michael Chiklis does a great job as Ben.
We're all in this together, Ben.
Together? Susie, look at me. You got no idea what I'd give to be invisible.
There's an extended version. Usually, I would expect a version like that to flesh out your characters more, or in the case of Daredevil, reveal an entire plot line that was cut from the movie. But many of the extra scenes here can be easily cut for time without losing any story details. It seems as though many of the cuts made from the extended cut to the theatrical cut were actually entirely reasonable. There are scenes that even feel redundant.
You always talked about how you liked the kind of man who could approach you, speak his mind. One who wasn't afraid to tell you exactly what he wanted.
I did. But I wanted you to be that man.
A stronger man.
I did, Reed. But I wanted you to be that man.
There are 2 little bits I miss. I miss the bit where Alicia tells Ben about him being different.
How many astronauts did you know growing up in Brooklyn? None, right? But you dared to be different. You didn't care what anybody else did, or said, or thought. So why start now?
And I also miss a bit where someone puts Johnny in his place for his antics.
You know, if I had your powers, I'd be doing something with it, not wasting my time doing cheap tricks in bars.
Overall, the extended version is far more boring than the theatrical, which is quite a feat. Does this movie suck? Holy crap, yes. On repeat viewings, I haven't found the theatrical version of this movie as boring as I remembered. However, I found sitting through the extended cut to be a grueling experience, making me want to drop my overall rating of this movie, but I'm not reviewing the extended cut, so I'll stick with the rating I had planned to give this movie to begin with. I give this movie a 4 out of 10, which is pretty bad, but shockingly, this is the best Fantastic Four movie so far, and isn't that profoundly sad?
Allowed the communication of ideas, enabling human beings to work together to build the impossible. Mankind's greatest achievements have come about by culture.
Big man in a suit of armor. Take that off, what are you?
If you're a fan of my channel and the content I produce, please make sure to visit my Patreon page and become a patron. If you sign up there, not only is there the option to become a producer, if you contribute a little bit more, you'll get your own title card with your name or your handle or whatever you want listed, as well as a website or anything like that within reason that you'd like to promote.